my loves, welcome back to my channel. So today I have a very exciting video, at least for me it is. I'm going to be reviewing the new airbrush bronzer by Charlotte Tilbury with the Desert Haze palette. So we're going to be doing the whole look. If you guys are just here for the bronzer and the palette, I would suggest for you guys to skip through those parts because I am going to be doing the whole face. So I'm going to have some swatches at the end of the video. I'm going to give you guys some comparisons and my overall thoughts. So with that being said, let's just jump right into it. Alright you guys, so let's get to it. Here's the palette. This is called Desert Haze. I'm so excited. So as you guys can see, most of you guys probably will be like, this is boring. I've seen the shades before. I get it. I get it. By the way, please don't mind my nails. I took off the rest of the acrylics that I had left on, and my nails are super brittle, super just tendered, and I can't even touch them. So yeah, these shades are gorgeous. Just like looking at them, they're very neutral, very wearable for like everyday, natural. They're all matte. So let's jump right into it. I'm gonna do like a very natural look. I already did my brows. I'll leave everything in the description box below if you guys are interested. And I just used the Too Faced concealer in the shade Warm Sand as a base. And I set it with the airbrush powder from Charlotte Tilbury in the shade number 2. So I'm gonna start off with a MAC 224 blending brush, and I'm gonna grab this shade right here, which is this one right here. So far, the shadow is super pigmented, like a little bit goes a long way, and you're very creamy, very silky and soft. I do get a little kickback on the pan, but not excessive at all, so that doesn't matter to me. I know to some people it does, but I'm just saying, like, the shadow so far is super like easy to blend. All right, so now I'm gonna go in with the shade right below it. It's a little bit deeper, but it's still warm tone. Like this one, I feel like it's more cool tone. We'll see how it goes. But with that same 224, I'm just gonna apply that more so on the outer area of my eye, and then very softly I'm just gonna diffuse it towards the inner corner. So far, both shadows layered really well on top of another. They are so creamy, you guys. I can't even front. This is a Morphe M510. I'm just gonna buff out the edges. So now I'm gonna grab the lightest shade right here with a MAC 239. I think it's a MAC 239. Just gonna pack that all over. Not all over the lid, but you know, I'm gonna kind of like pack it on the lid. Wow, I was expecting the shade to be kind of like chalky and powdery, and it's pigmented. It's gonna go back with that 224 and then this shade right here. Alrighty, so now I'm gonna grab I have a hair on my lips. This is the Charlotte Tilbury Rock and Roll. It's just like a eyeliner pencil in the shade by Barbarella Brown. It's just like a dark brown. Just gonna very lightly line my lash line. I'm gonna grab my MAC 263 angle brush, and like I mentioned, with this shade right here, just gonna be using the Extended Play by MAC. I already applied some glue on my lashes, so I'm just waiting for them to get a little tacky. Alrighty, my loves, so I think I'm done with the eyes. I want to keep them as like natural looking as possible. I just used the Ardell 113s. These are my favorite lashes from like the drugstore because they're so wispy, they're long, they're just very just like, I don't know, girly. So I am going to take a break and eat because my hubby just got home with some food, and then we'll continue on with the rest of the makeup. Alrighty, you guys, so I ate, so let's continue. I'm gonna be using the Fresh Rose Deep Hydration Oil Infused Serum. I love this stuff. I have super dry skin, so I love applying this as part of my skincare regimen, and also like underneath makeup works really well. I'm gonna use the Fast Response by MAC real quick. I'm gonna moisturize with the Charlotte's Magic Cream. This stuff is amazing. I'm gonna apply a little bit of the MAC Moisture Infusion as a primer today. And I use the Hollywood Flawless Filter in the shade number 6 to just even out my skin, add a little bit of glow. Morphe M439. This is the MAC Magic Radiance Fix Plus. Gonna be mixing both of these. This is the Glossier Skin Tint in the shade G5, and then the Light Wonder Foundation from Charlotte Tilbury in the shade number 9 Dark. Gonna grab a sponge. Alrighty, so for concealer, I'm gonna mix Too Faced in the shade Warm Sand just to kind of cancel out any like darkness. And the Magic Away from Charlotte in the shade number 8. Mine is broken. The sponge tip applicator fell off because I pulled it too hard, but we're gonna keep going. I'm actually going to use the little e.l.f. sponge. This is the Cameo. I think it's called Cameo, something like that, or Camo something. I don't know. Alright, so excuse me. I think you guys already know what I'm going to set it with. Airbrush number 2 with the Real Techniques setting brush. Alrighty, so next thing I'm going to do is hydrate my skin a little bit with the Tatcha Luminous Dewy Skin Mist. I'm going to cover my eyes. I'm going to grab the Charlotte Tilbury. This is the Beauty Light one in the shade Gold Gasm, just to kind of like highlight a little bit on my cheekbones. That's what that looks like if you guys are curious. And with this sponge that I used earlier, I'm just gonna apply it right here. You guys see how beautiful that looks? Very subtle. You can always make it more intense, but I want it to be more like a glow from within. I'm also going to grab the same beauty one, but in the shade Peach Gasm, more for a blush. Apply that on the back of my hand as well. That's what that one looks like. It's like a rose gold. And then with the sponge I used earlier to apply my foundation, gonna concentrate that on the apples of my cheeks. Because I'm gonna be setting my face with a powder. I don't want to apply it on top of powder because then it's gonna look cakey. So you want to do this before you set your makeup if you are going to set your makeup with a powder. If not, then you'll be fine. But this as a base for your actual blush or as a highlight, it's just stunning. So now for setting my makeup, I'm gonna grab two different powders. The first one is from Bobbi Brown. This one right here is the Skin Powder Foundation. I use the shade Golden 6 and a MAC 129. And I'm also going to be using the Hourglass Radiant Light in the shade Ambient. This has a glow to it. So I'm going to use this one more to set and then this one just to add an overall glow to my face. And as you guys can see, I'm just pressing the powder on my skin. I'm not buffing. I don't want to move the foundation around. All right, and now I'm gonna go in with this one and just very lightly, I'm just gonna dust this kind of like all over. For that extra glow. This powder is a game changer. I'm telling you guys, it is stunning. All right, so now we can move on to the part that I was waiting for, the bronzer. Look how huge it is. It is gorgeous. It looks like a seashell. It's just so luxurious. I got the shade number 3. There's 4 shades in total. So I'm gonna be applying it, of course, with my MAC 140 brush. This is my favorite bronzing brush. Here's how the bronzer looks next to my face. Like, it is gorgeous. I can't. So today I'm not gonna cream contour or anything because I want you guys to see the true shade of this bronzer. So I clean the brushes. So let's see how pigmented and how they apply. So that's the bronzer. I'm just gonna tap off on the back of my hand because I don't know how pigmented it will be. Okay, it's definitely warm toned. I'm very happy about that because I was worried that these bronzers were gonna be kind of like neutral, kind of cool. It is very pigmented, like very, very pigmented. I am really like shocked. I am layering and layering and layering because I can't get enough of it. It is such a beautiful formula. I'm in love. So moving on to blush, I'm gonna grab the Love Gasm palette by Charlotte Tilbury, and I'm gonna be pretty much applying this shade right here with this one. I'm gonna mix them together. This is my MAC 137. And for highlighting, I'm gonna use the Bar of Gold palette, and I'm pretty much just mixing all 3 shades. I'm gonna use the same brush because why not? With my finger, I'm just gonna very lightly. I'm gonna go in one more time with the Tatcha spray. I didn't know if I wanted to do the same kind of thing I did on my lids, like on my lower lash line, but I feel like I just want to keep it fresh and just kind of like simple, so I just added a lot of like the extended play mascara from MAC. I just grabbed this 221 brush from MAC, and I'm just grabbing this shade right here from the Bar of Gold palette as my inner corner highlight. A little beam, not too strong. like so. So for lips, I'm using Foxy Brown Lip Cheat by Charlotte Tilbury. I'm gonna be mixing Sexy Sienna, which is more of a coral shade, and Hepburn Honey, which is just like the perfect nude shade for my skin tone. And I'm just tapping it. For gloss, I'm going to be using Ibiza Nights, also by Charlotte Tilbury. I'm going to finish up with some Urban Decay All Nighter just to set the makeup. Alrighty, my love, so this is the final look. I can't with this glow, like I'm obsessed. I'm telling you guys, this Hourglass powder, the Radiance Light Ambient, is a game changer. It makes your skin just look so like smooth and flawless. So yeah, let's get into both products that I feature for today's video. I'm gonna start off with the Desert Haze palette. So like I mentioned, they're all matte shades. I'm gonna go ahead and swatch them all on the back of my hand so you guys can see what they look like. So the first one is, this is the Bone shade. I'm horrible at swatches. I'm really sorry, you guys. So that's that. The second one, which is more of the transition shade. That's what that looks like. The next one, which is more warm. Not warm, a little bit deeper. And then the darkest shade, which has a little bit more of that kind of like cool undertone to it. All shades are very, very beautiful. They're all very easy to apply. The formula is stunning. When I tell you, like, the shadows are so creamy, they're not chalky and dry. You know how like matte eyeshadows can tend to be really like just, I don't know, powdery, and they don't really have pigment. This one's packed a punch. Like, they're very pigmented. As you guys saw, I only use a concealer as a base, the Too Faced concealer, and they still apply super, super like intense on my eyes. They're very easy to blend with each other. They never look patchy. I don't know, they're just a very smooth formula that I'm like really, really obsessed with. I have also here the, what's this one, the Pillow Talk palette. Just so you guys can see in terms of the shades, I feel like the shades are completely different. This palette is a little bit more vibrant because it has a little bit more corals and pinks, that sort of thing. Do I think that if you have this palette, you need this one? Probably not, just because if you guys see right here in the center, these like 4 to 5 shades are pretty similar to the ones from this palette. So I'm gonna go ahead and open it up. Right there in the center, you guys see like they're all similar. So yeah, like I said, if you have this one, I don't necessarily think that you have to go out and run and get this one. Me personally, I did, because you guys know how much I love Charlotte Tilbury products, and these are my shades. This palette is me. This is me like in a palette pretty much. This is what I would wear if I wanted to wear shadow. You guys know I'm not really an eyeshadow person. So if I'm gonna buy an eyeshadow palette, it's gonna be very natural, like neutral, wearable, everyday shades that are not gonna be too intense on the eyes. I think it's worth it. I know a lot of people are gonna complain about the fact that the shades are not innovative, they're not different, which is fine. I'm not disagreeing with you guys. However, the formula is outstanding. So the next product is the bronzer. I got the shade number 3, and the packaging to me is just so beautiful and high-end. It feels very luxurious. I love how large it is. So here's the original airbrush powder compared to the bronzer. It is huge. So this bronzer is supposed to have the same formula as the Airbrush powder, which you guys know is my favorite powder of all time. It has hyaluronic acid, so it's very hydrating. So if you have dry skin, this powder is a must. You guys can see I need a new one soon. So look how smooth like my skin looks. Like this powder applies super seamlessly. I didn't see any patchiness. I feel like a lot of bronzers sometimes tend to give me that patchy look, and I didn't see that with this at all. Also, it is hydrating, but it's also not a powder that if you have oily skin, you're gonna look oily. It's not that type of powder, because I know some people, when they hear like a powder is hydrating, they think it's gonna give them that shine or glitter. It's just like comfortable on the skin and not mattifying to the point where it dries out your skin. So I love this. This shade, I was worried it was gonna be a little bit too light for me, but it's perfect. I'm going to go ahead and swatch the bronzer against other bronzers that I absolutely love, so you guys can get an idea of what the shade looks like. For reference, I wear MAC NC44, so if you're close to my skin tone, you'll be able to wear this shade. It is stunning. So yeah, let me actually swatch this one first on the back of my hand. Like, just even touching it, it is like velvet. It's so smooth. That's it right there. So I'm just gonna swatch it on the back of my hand so you guys can see. It builds up super nicely. So don't think that on first application, if you don't get a bunch of pigmentation, that is not gonna build up, because it will. So that's the bronzer right there. The next one I'm going to apply is the Beijing Gal by Fenty Beauty. They're pretty much the same shade, so I'm gonna go ahead and swatch that next to the Charlotte Tilbury. And funny enough, the Charlotte Tilbury one is a lot darker. Not a lot, but it's a little bit darker than the Fenty one. So this is the Airbrush by Charlotte Tilbury. This is Beijing Gal. So this has a little bit more golden, like more of a golden undertone to it. This one is a little bit warmer. So if you guys were worried about this shade not being dark enough for your skin tone and you're around my skin tone, definitely get it. Even if you're like an NC45, this will work because it's darker than Beijing Gal. Another shade of bronzer that I have here is the MAC Mineralized Skin Finish in the shade Dark Deep. So this one's definitely warmer. This is a little bit more like toned down. So there we go. That's the Dark Deep by MAC. But as you guys can see, the Charlotte Tilbury is still the deepest one out of all. The next bronzer I'm gonna swatch is from Becca. This is the Ipanema Sun. So here's Becca, here's Charlotte Tilbury. So that's Ipanema Sun. So far, this is to me the closest to the Charlotte Tilbury one, because it's a little bit kind of like neutral. Not neutral, I don't want to use the word neutral. It's just more warm tone and not as golden as the other two. So yeah, that's probably the closest one. I almost forgot to mention two really important things. First is this is also a face and body bronzer. So you can apply this on your body, but you can also buy the refill pen for this. So once you finish it, you don't have to buy a new bronzer. You can pop this out. I'm not gonna pop it out right now, you guys, because, or maybe I can. Let me just grab, hold on. On the back of the bronzer right here, there's like a little hole, and then I'm just using like this little lash applicators, and you guys can see the bronzer just pops up. So it is so huge. Also, if you're a makeup artist or you're just a person that doesn't like carrying this type of packaging, when you're traveling, you can always just bring a big like palette, like empty palette, and just bring your single pen shadows, put this in there. It is super convenient. I really like this, and I love the fact that it's super easy to get out of the pan, because a lot of other products you have to literally almost damage them to take them out. So just gonna pop that back in there, and then there you go. So yeah, you guys, overall I love both products. They're both worth it to me. If I had to choose one, definitely the bronzer. I think this one really like blew my mind. Compared to the Fenty, I love this bronzer as well. I think it is beautiful, but I feel like this formula is 10 times better because it's so smooth. This one's smooth too, don't get me wrong. But I just feel like this one just looked like, I don't know, butter on my skin. And maybe it's because I'm biased because I love Charlotte Tilbury too. I don't know, but you guys need this bronzer. If you like bronzers, please get the bronzer. The only complaint that I would have is I would love to see more shades of this bronzer. I feel like there's room for more shades. The palette is more of a preference thing. If you like this type of shades, I do recommend it. And with that being said, I hope you guys really enjoyed this video. Don't forget to check the description box below for all the product info. Follow your girl on Instagram. Let me know if you guys have any questions, requests, that sort of thing in the comments area. And yeah, you guys, I will see you all in my next video. Bye, beauties.